Hi, welcome to the More Gemshow. I'm Steve Moriarty, your host, and with me tonight are my two sons, Michael, who's in charge of this production.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for coming.
And Jeffrey, who will be our chat moderator. Hi, Jeffrey.
How we doing, Dad?
Doing good. Yeah, going to be a good show tonight. The one daughter that's not here is Dana. Hopefully she's watching. We can't get her into the business, but she is a nurse and she's out there doing her job, and we want to thank her for being a nurse at this time. So tonight, anything going on there, Jeffrey?
So I'm always looking at the trends in our business, and one thing I noticed trending over the past couple of weeks has been jewelry insurance.
Surprise, surprise, huh? Wonder why that is.
Yeah, the world the way it is, but because that's something you provide, right? Jewelry.
Yeah, we don't provide it, but we've got a couple of companies that we've had great success with. I've used State Farm and have liked State Farm over the years because they're easy to deal with. But we also recommend highly is Jewelers Mutual, and the one big benefit of Jewelers Mutual is that they cover repairs, which nobody does that. They're about the same price, which is typically about $10 $1,000 on your insured item. But when you have a repair needed on that item, currently Jewelers Mutual will cover that repair, which I don't know how long that'll last. It seems like just such a big benefit to you, and I'm sure that's why they're offering it, just trying to get more clients. But that's Jewelers Mutual, who insures our store and many of the stores around the U.S. So they would be a couple that we recommend, and hopefully I don't offend any other dealers of insurance, but those are ones we've had real good success with.
Okay.
So.
Just wanted to bring up that for those watching, if you do sign into YouTube or your Gmail account, you can join in on the live chat. There's usually some pretty funny people chatting in there. So you can do that. That's easy enough. And I guess last week's gemstones are still on sale. So you can find them if you go to moregems.com. And there's a link that says Gemshows, and you can go to I think the show from August 19th. Coupon code FANCY15 can be used on any of those, and it's 15% off, I believe. All right.
And there's still some left.
Yes.
We had a really good show last week, but there's probably 10 of the stones that we had are still available. So we try and go up to the next show, and then it's just a day after the next show typically. So you have a day from this show to order anything on there. And to order, you go to moregems.com. For tonight, you'll click on the green bar at the top of the first page, and that's going to show you everything that we're showing tonight. And with the coupon code MIX15, you're going to get 15% off the prices that are on our site. Anything else?
I think that's probably it for now.
All right.
Let's get going.
Let's get right to it and start with our first stone. And this is one I cut this last week. It's a Morganite. You've seen several Morganites from us. I bought a nice parcel, and I'm getting down to the last couple of stones to cut. But this is a hexagonal. You can see a step cut crown, and I can't remember what I did on the pavilion here. I cut quite a few this week. Kind of I better take a look at the stone. So it's a brilliant style cut, just something that I cut on the run. No design to it, just kind of started faceting and let the piece kind of tell me what to do. And, it came out really nice, a nice brilliant stone. You know, if you cut at the right angles and polish really well, you're generally going to get a good bright stone. Yeah, there's a little more to it than that, but that's the basics of getting a nice bright gem. So this Morganite comes from Ethiopia. The nice thing about the Ethiopian material, there is no treatment to it. They are natural color. Many of the Morganites that are on the market coming out of Mozambique, now that's the bulk of the material you'll see out there, and most of it is enhanced by irradiation. These come out of the ground naturally. This color are not enhanced. So a big benefit in this particular material. So the price on the stone, the appraised price is $3,410. Our price online is $1,100, and with mix 15, you're going to get 15% off that. And just to refresh your memory, or for those of you that haven't been with us, how the price is determined for the appraised price or the normal price on our site is with use of the Gem Guide, which is a market-driven independent guide that's provided to people in the trade. And they go out to the shows and price gems from the wholesale dealers and create this book based on what they see at the shows. So it's a good reference that's used by appraisers and jewelers for their buying. So a real good guide, and this is the basis for the price that you see as our normal price. Then you'll see our price that we sell at, and then an extra percentage off for those of you watching these shows. So Morganite is a beryl, so it's a good tough stone. Beryl includes emerald and aqua, goshenite, which is colorless, heliodor, which is yellow. You've seen quite a few of these stones in the past on these shows, but this is a brand new one that I cut this week. I like the hexagonal shape, something a little different from a round or oval stones, and actually I've cut two that are somewhat hexagonal that you're going to see tonight. Kind of get into spurts on cutting things and just end up with similar shapes at similar times, and you know, it's just the way a cutter thinks, I guess. And question.
Quick question, and I'm not sure if this is from the image or from the camera, but Gail was asking, was there something attached to the girdle? Not sure.
Of this stone?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay. Well, let's get the camera up. And
You know, I think that there might have been some sticky on there.
ah, yes. So, thank you. It should come off. And I think it's glue. We use a lot of glue and sticky stuff to keep stuff sitting upright. Actually, I'm not. You know, and you know, I think this stone had a little inclusion on the edge. Out there. And it may be something that, if it is actually, I think there was an inclusion, and sometimes they can break out during the, or change. I need a loop to really see it. But if there's something there, I mean, there's plenty of girdle to take it out. If it is something other than something on the stone, it could either be glue, or I do believe there was an inclusion on the girdle of this stone that looks more apparent now. So
Looked like there's something in the video too, right there. Huh? So that was something else. Though.
yeah, That was something to hold the stone up. Yeah, I got to work at looking at these stones better beforehand. But
Oh, you cut them for the show, right?
what's that mean, Michael?
You're cutting them, just in time for the show.
Yeah. So, but whatever it is, it won't be on there when you buy it, because I can easily take care of it, whatever it is. Thanks for noticing. I think. No, it's important. Yeah. But I do believe there was something there, but it looks more apparent than when I cut it. Sometimes you cut these stones and that part can loosen up, which wasn't obvious at one time, and either just in moving them around and stuff, you can knock a piece out of it, and that may be what it is. But plenty of girdle there and easy to cut out. It's about a 15-minute job to take that out, and like we had some issues last week, and first thing next morning I took care of them all, and they're all just clean and no problems. So can do it with that one too. So next stone, hopefully there's no issues with this one. So this is a Malaya garnet. This comes from Tanzania. These unique colors mostly came from Mahenge in Tanzania. I do not have the definite source on this, but I would bet that is where it came from. This I didn't cut, and the owner did not have a definite location, but knew it was Tanzania, and Mahenge is what has produced these colors over the last 5 years maybe. Currently very difficult to get material out of Mahenge. So it's a limited supply, but produced a lot of unique colors, and this is one of them. This does change color quite a bit. It goes, if you look at the pictures online, goes from more of a pinkish, it's not really pink, but it goes from that peachy color to a more pink color when you go from daylight to incandescent. Not really a color changing stone, but it has a color shift, a pretty strong shift, and both the colors are really, really, really pretty. These stones are some of my favorites. This material that came out of Mahenge, very unique colors, colors we'd never seen before in the trade, and it produced a lot of unique colors. This one over 3 carat. And typically, stones up to 2 carats were relatively easy to get. Once you get to 3 carat and bigger, these stones got quite difficult. This beautiful cut, just really, really brilliant stone. So it's $9.20, and with mix 15, you're going to get 15% off that. Really a worthy stone to own and make a beautiful ring or pendant. And up next is an opal. This is interesting opal. It's been sitting around for a year at least. I cut it, and it it got a crack that went through it. It was a stone that was twice this big. Finally picked it up and looked at it. I go, well, let's just cut the crack out and see what's left. And it really came out to be a beautiful stone. And these stones can crack the day after you cut them. Typically, after that, you're safe. I mean, there's no more issues that are going to happen to it. This stone will not crack because it cracked once. These stones so often crack once, and then it's done. There was some stress in it, they crack, and you never see issues with it after that. Unfortunately, you lose half your weight, but you still recover a stone from it. And this is really a pretty stone. Just really nice colors. So nice, interesting shape, probably more interesting than it was the first time I cut it, but 20 carats is always nicer than 10, but still a 10 carat stone. And just really a full rainbow of colors. So as we've talked, these are hydrophane. They will absorb water and chemicals, so you know, the absorbing water is never an issue, but absorbing oils and stuff can be an issue with these. But they don't craze. I told you this one cracked, but you know, they do that, but afterwards they don't crack, they don't craze, and crazing is a major issue with opals. Crazing is just real fine hairline cracks that come to the surface of the stone as they dry out, and it's not an issue with the Wheeler opal. So pretty stone, $6.99 is the price, and 15% off that with the coupon code MIX15. And let me show you, for any of you people that cut out there, here's a piece of rough. Michael has his own site, which is mineralmike.com, and this is a piece of rough that is on his site. And this is Mike's favorite color pattern. Pinfire, yeah. We have differences of opinion what we like, and this is definitely Mike. So anytime we're looking at rough and we see this, he gets it. You know, but many people like this type of fire. It's just so concentrated and just little vivid pinpoints of light. You know, this is a really good piece because there's not a lot of waste in it. You know, you can see the color goes throughout the whole piece. This is a piece that weighs 35 carats, and my estimate is about a 20 carat stone out of this. So I think on his site it's $654, and a 20 carat with this kind of color is somewhere well over $2,000 as a finished stone, because these are really beautiful colors that are in this. And up next is a Sphene. Sphene I like very much, and many people do because of the extreme dispersion. As you can see, the amount of color that comes out of this stone in this video is really dramatic. Sphene is only beat out by sphalerite, which we had one last week, but Sphene's a lot more durable stone than sphalerite. Not that Sphene is remarkably durable. It's not made for a ring. It's really a pendant stone, but at least you can set it in a pendant, whereas the sphalerite we showed last year, or last week, or last show, sorry, really debatable whether you can even get it in a pendant. You know, I've damaged a few of them. One of them this week that was supposed to be on the show that just in the process of transferring it, I shattered it by being a little rough on the stone, and so wasted about 3 hours time in it, but it's the nature of sphalerite, not Sphene. So this Sphene comes from Madagascar. Oop. Thanks. And you can just see the extreme dispersion. You know, dispersions break up a white light in the spectral color, and this really has a beautiful look. So this one weighs 3 carat something. Weighs 3 carat 68. 1320 is the price on the stone, and 15% off. Next 15. So we've got a sale. Cool.
Yes, we do.
And do we know what it is?
We do. It's the Malaya garnet.
Oh, cool.
Edward.
All right, thanks, Edward. You're going to enjoy it. It's really a lovely stone. You know, a lot of stones change color somewhat, or have the color shift like this, but often one color is desirable and the other color is so-so. But this one, both colors are really beautiful colors. It's really a pretty Sphene. Somebody should own this. That stone I just got this week because Sphene's been real difficult to get. Sphene from Madagascar. While I was traveling to Madagascar, they discovered it there, and it's produced since, and that was probably maybe 2006, and it's been producing since then. But lately, the availability from Madagascar has been next to nothing. Fortunately, a new supply came out of Zimbabwe. Doesn't show as dramatic of dispersion as the Madagascar material does, but the color of the Zimbabwe is really a pretty color too. But this is a special stone. So.
Is it necklace and ring or?
Just necklace, no ring. Yeah, pendants. It's really just a pendant stone. I know that's a issue limiting the sale. If I could put them in rings, there wouldn't be Sphene available because it would all be sold out, because the market would be much bigger. But it's a pendant only, but really a dramatic stone for a pendant that people will notice, and it's hard to not see that unique color that you don't see in any other stone. It's just a beautiful greenish yellow or yellowish green, and all those colors that come out of it make it an outstanding piece.
And for some of the new people here, we do maybe letting them know about the custom designs we do and everything.
Oh, okay. Yeah, a few things. How to pay would be one thing we should tell you. And we do custom work. So, any of these stones, if you want us to make a ring or pendant for you, we can accept Sphene. We can design something for you. And one benefit of us doing it is when it's our stone, we take the risk on the stone. Not all jewelers are going to take the risk when you bring a stone in, particularly a Sphene. They're going to look at you and go, no way am I going to set that, because, it is a softer stone, and there are more risks with softer stones. But we take the risk when we do all the setting work, so we can custom design pretty much anything for you. And as far as payments, we do offer different payments online. We take all forms of credit card. We take PayPal. We do have financing currently on the site.
Yep.
Has it changed, or is
Same one, yes, through Sezzle.
Sezzle, and it's only up to
I think $2,500.
$2,500 is the maximum on it. But is it a 4-payment thing?
I think 6 payments or 6 weeks, 8 weeks. I think over maybe 8 weeks, 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's a relatively short time, 6 or 8 weeks. But we're working on other forms of financing, but not easy to get people to finance online and with reasonable rates that we can pass on to you, or rates that don't cost you anything, because ours, there's no cost to the customer on the financing. And we can do layaway. Layaway would require you calling tomorrow and setting up a program with us. We require 20% down, and you can layaway up to 6 months with regular payments. So, did I get them all?
Think so.
Okay, cool. Okay, and up next is a mineral mic stone. This is a natural crystal, Tourmaline, from the Cruzeiro mine in Brazil. I've been down there, but didn't go to the Cruzeiro mine. So really pretty stone, kind of a bluish green, a little bit of yellow to it, but a really nice crystal. And I believe this would be a twinned crystal. So, and this is about an inch long or so. Yeah, maybe a little over an inch.
29 millimeters.
29 millimeters, yeah, a little over an inch. It's a really nice termination, not a facet grade material. Otherwise, I'd cut it up for this show. But it is just a really nice specimen. You can see the striations that run down the side, which is very typical of tourmalines. One of the identifying characteristics. I do see some other crystals that'll display this, but tourmaline often the crystals have those linear lines. Pretty piece, $669, 15% off with Mix 15.
Show it size-wise.
Oh, there you go. Make a nice pendant, which we've done many of these. Men and women. This would be a good piece for a necklace, which we can do too. Either just make a cap for it, which is typically what we do, and just so to hold the chain. Anything you want to say about that, Mike?
No, it's a nice piece. Yeah, beautiful crystal.
Okay.
Happy to have it.
Yeah, so that's on Mineral Mike. So if you get a chance, go and take a look at what he's got.
Actually, it's also on the Morganite channel.
Yeah, it is part of this show. So if you click on the green banner, that's where you order it. But there's lots of other things on Mineral Mike. He's got a really nice collection of crystals and single crystals and big clusters, and so some really cool stuff there. And up next is a Tanzanite. So this is a stone that I bought, and the culet was pretty far off center. So I recut it. Cost me a lot of weight. Recuts on stones, you lose about 30%. So it's really tough to make out in these, but man, the difference in the beauty of the stone when you cut it right. And I was going to just kind of modify it a little bit to try and get the culet more on center. But then I looked at it and I said, let's just recut the whole thing. So it went from like a 3-carat 40 down to this 218. But really just a beautiful stone, just excellent brilliance. The kind of brilliance you don't typically see in Tanzanite. Stuff you buy overseas never has this kind of life. They're just cutting for weight. No concern about the brilliance of the stone. So even though this only weighs 2 carat, it's a big face because it's cut to the right angles, but it's cut to the minimum. This is as shallow as you can cut this stone and get full brilliance. So you get a good widespread, really looks like a typical 3-carat Tanzanite. So it's a big look, doesn't weigh a lot, but really bright stone. I think it's a little over maybe 8.5 millimeters. 8.5 millimeters, which definitely most 8.5 millimeter stones are over 3 carat. So it's easy to mount. Many stones that are cut are just too deep, and a lot of mountings won't handle the depth of the cuts. But this will fit in pretty much any diamond setting. Diamonds are cut very shallow like this, and you can use pretty much any setting. A lot of times the colored stones you have to custom make a piece because they're deeper and they won't fit the standard settings, but not the case with this stone. So really a great color, high rating on this stone, 958. So I do rate Tanzanite. I don't do the AAA system that most people use. So I've set up a system that breaks down color, clarity, and cut, and gives it an overall quality grading, which is 1 to 1,000. And this stone I've got as a 958. So very high quality rating. A lot to do with the cut, because cut has a very dramatic effect on how stones rate. Many times I'll have a stone great color and great clarity, but the cut just affects it significantly. A question there, Jeff?
This is kind of a question maybe from me, actually. But again, we've got quite a few new people on the show tonight. I know Tanzanite's one of our biggest sellers, right? Is it the biggest seller?
50% of our business.
Yeah.
I've often said that if it could be my entire business, I'd do Tanzanite. And this year it's been headed that way. I don't want to leave out all these other stones, but Tanzanite to me is just a remarkably beautiful stone. I have direct connections to the mine. So, and to Tanzania in several directions, and really working at improving that this year, and trying to make some deals over there that we can start providing plenty of material and be assured of future in Tanzanite, because that's the problem. It's a limited supply. The country can change quickly, so putting, as my son Jeffrey says, putting all your what's the term?
Eggs in the one basket.
Putting all your eggs in one basket may be questionable, but Tanzanite's the one thing I would do that with. But there are a lot of issues. The government has been stepping in. They put a wall around the mines. I no longer can go to the mines and buy. You go to jail for that. So things are changing. You don't know what's going to happen in the future. So, but still, I just think it's a very, very important stone. The color is remarkably beautiful. It's a very limited supply, being only one mine in the entire world that produces it. Not one mine, but one mining area. I just think it's a stone everybody should own. If you don't have one, you should have one, because one day it's going to run out. It's not going to be in my time in business, but my son Michael and Jeff, sons, in their lifetime in this business, it's not going to be available anymore. But I think there's a lot of money to be made and a lot of people to be made happy with this material, that it's worth going after as strong as we can. And that is my plan. As soon as I can get back to Tanzania, I'm going to really work on making us very important in Tanzanite. It's a lot of our business now, but we can do a lot more business in it. It's to me, the most important stone in the business. Yeah.
My wife's got 2 of them.
Mine has a few too. And how about yours, Michael?
I've got one.
Oh, it's not his wife; it's his fiance. So she only has one.
So, yeah, well, she got a small one.
She's
Poor
all,
girl.
She's not
Poor
the wife
girl.
yet. Fiance, she wants.
And it is the one
She wants
stone.
more Tanzanite. She's gotta say yes.
It is the one stone that I see people that have 4 or 5 stones. I once had a woman come in, she had 5 or 6 pieces. And the first comment was, oh, I don't need another Tanzanite. I showed her one, in minutes she bought it, just because it's just such a mesmerizing stone. People don't do that with any other stone. So, this is what I see with the material. It's just so attractive that people want to own it. So,
Okay.
did I answer the question?
You answered it for a long time.
Sorry. And we're yeah. And
That's
probably
it for the
others
show tonight,
did too.
everybody.
Sorry. That's why this goes on so long. Okay, next stone. Oh, next sale. One stone gone. What is it?
This probably be no. You wouldn't. Because it wasn't even one of the stones tonight. But it was one you guys talked about.
Really?
Yeah, it's one that's you against Michael,
Yeah.
Opal?
and someone chose Michael.
Oh,
Yeah, my favorite
Well.
pattern, the pinfire.
yeah.
Yeah, it's
Cool.
favorite pattern.
Well, good luck with it. And if you're a cutter, let us know what you'd get out of it, and we'd love to see pictures. A lot of times people just like to have them and look at them, because I've often said that we should just mount some of these rough pieces. They're so beautiful just as rough, and sometimes you cut things and they don't get more beautiful than they were in the rough. I think I should wire wrap some of them and just sell them as rough pieces, which we will do.
We have one in the works. Mark's
Oh,
working on one.
okay, we're doing that. So, but it is just cool stuff, either cut or in the rough. So
Thank you,
Enjoy it.
Cynthia.
Yeah. Michael says thank you. Yeah. All right, up next. Okay, these are tough to get. These are color change garnets. These come from Bikili, Madagascar. This is a trio which almost never see. I don't think we have a complete change. These will go from this color to like a rhodolite color. There's pictures on the site. Well, there are more. Which picture was that, Jeff or Michael? You have both pictures. So there's the color change. This material has become, from this source, basically impossible to get. I know that this week because we chipped a stone that I'd sold years ago. And we were working on it and chipped it, and so now I need to replace it. And so everybody I know that's ever been into this material, I called, and there is just nothing available. Just so difficult to get this material that comes from Bikili, which is the best source for color change garnets. These are color change. We also call them Alexandrite-like garnet because they do color change similar to what Alexandrite does. But the big difference is Alexandrite will be 10 times the price of what color change garnets are. So this is a nice trio. They're not inexpensive, but for their rarity, which these are 1,000 times rarer than even Alexandrite. And Alexandrite is the birthstone that's the toughest to get, the most expensive. 1 carat Alexandrite these days is $12,000. So, these are almost 3 carats in these 3 pieces, $39.90, and with 15% off with mix 15. That's what it is. Mix 15.
You got it.
It'll take it down another $600 or so. So really nice trio. I've never seen a trio of this particular material before. So this is kind of a mix of the 2 colors, this particular light. But for this material, they're nice clean stones, well cut, and just would make a beautiful 3-stone ring, particularly, with some little diamonds around it, and just be a remarkable piece. And these are quite bright for this material. Usually they're very dark and don't show their color quite as well, but these are nice bright stones. Wish I had a pen light. But anyway, on the site you'll see this color change, and I think there's 2 videos on the site also showing the color change. So really a remarkable set of color change garnets. What else can I say? This is what I started going to Madagascar for, was this material. I had very little success in all my time going there. I bought 1 piece of rough that I cut. I actually sold it today, the cut stone. I'd sold it once, got it back after 10 years from somebody, and sold it again today. Yeah. So unique material.
What are the other sources?
Well, originally, the first material I got came from Sri Lanka back in the 1980s. And recently, probably in the last 10 years, they've found sources in Tanzania and also in Kenya. The material in Tanzania, I think, is interesting. I haven't seen stones from Kenya that I really like yet. But with Bikili gone, I hope it's temporary, but could be gone for good. Going to have to start looking at Tanzania and see just what's available there and whether there's something that is interesting enough to sell, given a great color change. So, next trip.
Not many other sources other than that recent find of blue garnet that was real small pieces a couple years back. Right?
Which was Tanzania also. Yeah, and they were blue.
Yeah.
Which blue, the color change come blue. And if you look back at any of the journals or any of the books written on colored stones, the only color that garnet doesn't come in is blue. But these color change stones do change to a shade of blue very commonly. So it makes the books incorrect. So. And up next, is one of my favorites, has been for years. It's just my favorite color. There's a garnet that comes this color, which, like the Malaya, the second stone that's sold, has a shade similar to this. But it's always been my personal favorite color. Just kind of a peachy color, and known as Imperial Zircon because of its resemblance to Imperial topaz. Imperial topaz very similar in color to this, but again, a stone at a much higher price, because the Imperial topaz can be 2,000 a carat in something similar to this. So this particular stone is a 7 carat 58. This comes from Tanga in Tanzania, this particular color. And unfortunately gotten much more difficult to get. There's a gentleman I know that is probably the biggest supplier of this material, just has had recently very difficult time getting good material. So I have very few stones in this particular color. Just really a beautiful color, and a big advantage of zircon is its brilliance. It has a very high refractive index, which kind of determines brilliance, and so that's what makes this such a lively stone. Just really well cut, clean stone, trilliant. You don't see this material in a trilliant very often. So if you look at the crystals, they're really ovals are what they cut best, and rounds, get quite a few rounds out of it just because a round is so brilliant in zircon. So it's $21.60 and 15% off with Mix 15. And up next is a Morganite, like the previous Morganite. We'll check the girdle on this one. I know this one's clean. So this is definitely a new cut for me. Completely new design, and it worked real well. They don't always work great, but this one came out good. That's a little fuzzy on the top there that I missed, but nothing in the stone. So this stone's just really, really clean, and just came out really nice. I'm always worried when, it takes about a day for the glue to come off the dop that holds it in the machine. So always curious to see the next day how the cut came out. And when you try something new, you just never know, just what it's going to be like. You can probably be assured it'll be okay, but looking for better than okay. And I loved the pattern on the crown of this when I finished it. The brilliance is so great that you don't see the pattern unless you look close at it in the cut stone, but the brilliance just came out remarkable. So this again is a Morganite from Ethiopia, so it is natural color. Oop. Get it in the screen there. So no enhancements for this. I should use a tweezer on that. Nobody wants to look at my fingers that bad.
Not as bad as mine.
Well, you work in the shop. All right. That's better. So the cut just works really nice. And a question there, Jeff.
Yeah, I think we need something. When I have a question, you need to say Jeff's question instead of viewer's question. Sometimes I do.
This is a Jeff question?
Yes. Well, I
Okay.
personally saw this stone right after you finished cutting, I think. I was out here. Amazing stone.
Yeah. Well, thanks.
As I told somebody on there, my wife has a custom designed Morganite ring that She looks amazing.
Is it oval?
What's that?
Is it oval?
It's, wow, I should know that, shouldn't I? I can see it in my head. It's either, this stone reminds me of it. I don't know. It may be close to oval. Yeah, I think it is oval. It's pretty big. It's very big.
Yeah, it was a big ring for her.
Yes.
Yeah, she's usually into very petite.
Yes.
But she loved it, and
Yeah.
it was. Did it have diamonds around
Lots
it?
of them, because I think Michael set them all.
Yeah. So
So I wanted to bring this up. Was this cut on the new machine?
this was cut. Yes.
Okay. And how'd that go?
It went remarkably well. Yeah, it's cut on the Ultratech V5, which is behind me here. And almost all the stones this week I've cut on it. You know, I have another machine that there's a few cuts I like to do on it. One reason or another. You know, I've cut on this other machine for 10 years now, so I still like to cut a few stones on it. But the Ultratech is really a remarkable machine, and for that particular cut, because of the long facets on it, it does really, really well at repeating those long facets, which is on most machines somewhat difficult. But the Ultratech does really a great job. You know, and I'm just so happy with the machine. I'm getting more comfortable with it. It's a little bit of a learning curve on a new machine. We will start doing some cutting videos, instructional videos, soon as I feel confident that I'm the instructor for that machine. You know, I need to know all the ins and outs of it, and I think I'm just about there. So we'll start doing some videos using the Ultratech V5. And for you cutters out there, or people that want to be cutters, I do recommend highly this machine. You know, the other machines I've got, I've always been happy with them. But the issues, as I've told you before, is they're no longer manufactured. There's no longer parts for them. So when you have issues, there's nobody there to help you. So in the market today, this is the best machine available that you're going to have support, and you're not going to have issues down the line. So it's a machine that I recommend. They've been at it for 55 years. Making this machine, they're a company that is not only manufacturing fastening machines, because it's a relatively small market. They do other manufacturing for scientific equipment, so they're going to be around. You know, so that's the key that I've found, because I've had problems with that, getting parts for my other machines, because they're no longer manufactured. There's nobody to go to. So highly recommend the Ultratech, either the V5, or they have a, this is a $49.95 is the price of this machine. And for $3,500, they've manufactured a new machine, which is very similar to this, built with the same standards, just trying to hit the market, because a lot of people are not up for spending $5,000. But you know, you do have to spend money on a good machine, because it's what's going to make you a good cutter. You know, there's only so much that a person can do, but if you have a good machine, there's no limit to what you can do. You can be creative, and the machine will back you up, and you can create a fine faceted stone. Anything you want to make, it's going to be much easier on this machine. So thanks for asking, Jeff.
Yep. And the whole point of that was that I love Morganite.
I love Morganite, and I love Morganite. Yes, I sold a Morganite today in the store, and she was for an engagement ring, and she was just so happy with the color of Morganite. You know, she didn't know what she wanted. She wanted pink or peach or blue, I think were her desire, and she just was thrilled with Morganite. You know, they don't come deep color. It's always a lighter color. Morganite is never dark, but just very desirable color for many, many women. Okay, next. Get me off on these tangents.
I'm good.
Next stone.
Next stone. Well, it's not a stone. Is a ring. So this is a ring by Christopher Michael, our designer, and my nephew. And this is really a beautiful piece. This is a little more pink color in Morganite. Morganites come peach to pink. Many of the peach colors that aren't treated, you can heat them and they'll turn more pink. Questionable whether they'll be more desirable when you heat them. But some of them come out of the ground pink. As is the case of this stone. This particular stone comes to us from Nigeria, another source that the colors are natural, although you would probably not know whether they heated the stone, and I probably wouldn't know. But heating only alters it somewhat, and sometimes you can use sunlight to alter the color of Morganite. You know, whether that's true of this source, I can't tell you for sure. But once they're pink, the change is over. But this is really, really pretty color. And a lot of diamonds around it. So I think there's 1.30 carat in fine diamonds around this piece. The stone itself weighs 7 carat 10. It's a stone I cut. Just really clean, really a bright stone. The diamonds are no doubt F color and VSS SI1 in clarity. And we have another sale.
Before I get into the sale, that would make a Morganite ring would be a nice Sweetest Day gift for all those people that celebrate Sweetest Day.
When is Sweetest Day? That's February, I think.
Is it today?
No, that's
That's in
Valentine's
February.
Day. No, Sweetest Day is October 16th.
Really? Okay.
Well, I was looking at most people.
I'm a jeweler. I should know.
No. And the Midwest is the biggest area for Sweetest Day. So that's probably why. And I only know because my wife reminded me a few times.
Oh, okay.
Even though it's like 6 weeks away, she still reminded me.
Yeah, I'll get carry that Tanzanite.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, so we got a sale. Brenda, thank you, Brenda. She purchased the Opal, the Wheelo Opal that I still think looks like a sailboat because I think everything does, but it's the 944 carat Opal.
Oh, that's what it is. Oh, okay, cool. All right. Well, I hope Brenda, I hope you enjoy it. If we can help you with the mounting, let us know. Otherwise, we'll get it out to you, and you'll love that Wheelo Opal. You know, glad I sat down and cut it. It's been looking at me for at least a year on my junk desk in the back. Not that it's junk, but to me it was junk because it was cracked down the center, and you know, until I looked at it close and said, "Well, there's a 10 carat stone in there." So sat down and cut it this week and got a sale. Cool. Good for both of us. While we have this ring out, you had a question for me, Jeffrey, about what we talked about last week.
It's with the diamonds?
Yeah, with the diamonds.
Yes.
Yeah,
About the synthetic diamonds?
Yeah, about synthetic diamonds. We brought it up last week, and we've had some questions about it, and I've done a little more research because the problem in the market right now with synthetic diamonds is that most jewelers can't identify the synthetic diamonds. So what that creates is, they are a diamond. They're manufactured, and the real problem is, up till last 2 or 3 years, they've been more expensive than natural diamonds, but now they're half the price of natural diamonds. So the fear, of course, is all this material like you're going to find online and on eBay and on a lot of the websites, are you getting real diamonds? Because you're going to have no hope of identifying them because it's difficult for us and the equipment is not up to snuff yet as far as separating all the diamonds. But, you know, we have had some success from a webinar from GIA on helping us to at least identify some of the synthetics that may be out there. When we look at a ring, can you pull that up there, Michael? Like this, what they're finding is not only some of them are all synthetic, and they had a video of one of them that had only one synthetic in it. Only one of the stones, and this many stones, was synthetic. So, you know, they're just improving their profit margin by, you know, $25 in this piece by just adding one synthetic diamond, assuming that nobody's ever going to notice. You know, they're going to test some of the others and they're naturals. So, but that's what you're going to run into out there, you know. And if you see a piece that just seems so cheap, I mean, you could put 5 carats of diamonds into a bracelet and it could be $10,000 cheaper because they're synthetics. So, you know, it's the concern out there buying that if you're buying from somebody you don't trust right now, it's a great risk. But what we found through this webinar with GIA is we have some of the equipment that'll help us separate many of the synthetics that are out there. Won't do all of them. We can't get them all, but we have a device that we use for fluorescence in minerals that we bought and actually reset it up. This is a transilluminator. It was set up with long wave UV and mid wave, but for the test for synthetic diamonds, you need long wave and short wave. And we've put short wave bulbs in this, so we have long wave and short wave. And the way you separate many of the synthetics, it doesn't get them all. I mean, there's many of them that this test won't work for. But a lot of them you can pick out because the synthetics will fluoresce greater in shortwave than they do in long wave, where it is the opposite in natural diamonds. So you can pick out many of them by fluorescing with shortwave light and observing the fluorescence, and then refluoresce it with the long wave. And if the short wave is greater than the long wave, then you're probably dealing with a synthetic. You know, so we're going to be playing with this. We did have somebody bring in a synthetic diamond engagement ring today, and we worked with it, and it absolutely did that. It told us that what we knew, it was a synthetic. So this is one simple tool that we already own that will help us in identifying synthetics. But again, there are stones that will pass this test, and you need more equipment to get them all. But it's our first step in trying to solve this problem of synthetic diamonds, which, given time, the equipment will come up to the point where all jewelers will have their own testers and we can identify them. But for now, you are at some risk from unscrupulous dealers who are going to put synthetics in rings.
Quick question.
Question.
I'm not on the screen. Oh, there I am. Alberto wanted to know, when you say synthetic diamond, do you also mean moissanite?
No, that's not a synthetic. A synthetic is truly a diamond. Synthetics, they're identical. You know, a synthetic means that man made the same thing that nature made. A simulant would be a moissanite. It looks somewhat like a diamond. It simulates, but it is not a diamond. If you grind them up, they're made of different stuff. You know, synthetic diamonds are carbon grown just like a natural diamond is grown in the ground. So synthetics and simulants, two different things. So that's why it's so difficult, because they are the same thing. You're either looking for inclusions, this fluorescent characteristic, there is photoluminescence, which synthetics will photoluminesce. They'll keep glowing after you take the UV light off them, and how that what is it?
Is it phosphorescence or no?
I'm not sure the difference between photoluminescence and phosphorescence. I don't think they called it phosphorescence. So but could be the same thing. You know, we have to ask.
Yeah.
Chris, is photoluminescence and phosphorescence, what's the difference? So Chris is our fluorescence expert, so we'll get back to you with this, with the answer to that. Next stone. Well, how about we do another opal? We have another opal from Mineral Mike. Sold the first one. Let's try for this one. So this is a big, big rock. So the nice thing about this one, it weighs 62 carats, but there's hardly any waste in it. You know, you got this, you got a cutaway, and you know, you may want to do a little with the back of this, but the color goes throughout the stone. And being almost 63 carat, I'm estimating that with luck, you'll get a 40 carat out of it. And a 40 carat of this color could bring you 3,200. You know, there's never guarantees in opals because you can run into problems. I mean, I've dealt with them long enough that I know what I think I'm going to get out of them, and sometimes it works, sometimes you do better, sometimes it doesn't work as well. But man, most of the material has so much of the rock or that's they're found in. You know, sometimes you cut away 30-40% of the material before you even get to a clean opal, but that's not the case with this piece. You know, there's just going to be so little loss in it. You know, it's just going to be really a very pretty color, big yield. This stone on Michael's site, and this is, you're going to find it on mineralmike.com. It's not going to be in the show here, but this one is $1,144, and you're giving percentage off this? No. Okay. So it's $1,144, but you know, the potential yield is a $3,200 stone. All right, and up next is another Mineral Mike.
Different.
Huh?
Different type of opal.
Different type of opal, yes. These are so cool. You know, this stone, we looked at it and couldn't decide whether we should be cutting it up or selling it as a mineral specimen, but this stuff is so tough to judge. You know, there may be a couple of carat stones in this, and carat stones can go for $1,500 a carat. So, you know, but we've also cut up a few of these and ended up with nothing.
The last one.
Yeah, the last one we cut up, you know, it was a great specimen, and I just thought there was some really nice cutters in it. But
Looked like it.
yeah, it really looked like it, but it didn't work out. You know, but we've done others. You know, I've got 2 carat, I got a 7 carat, you know, that sold for $7,000. The other one is currently available for about $4,000. So the potential of this material is very good, but he decided to go for the sure thing, and instead of cutting it up and taking the risk that there'd be nothing in it. But it's a beautiful specimen.
For sure, one stone in there.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't get a carat stone cut out of this, I'd be amazed, but I don't know. It's just so, you know, there's what the UV light does to it. It's almost overpowering, you know, but the big thing about this material, why it's so valuable in a cut stone, is its daylight fluorescent. You know, daylight fluorescence is something that is unique, not totally unique to the stone, but it is unique in the gem trade. So when you take this outside in sunlight, it'll glow to about half of what that UV light does. And this one really is a dramatic glow in daylight. You know, they do vary quite a bit from specimen to specimen, but this has a dramatic daylight fluorescence. So this is a specimen that's $759. 15% off with Mix 15.
Show size.
And, if you decide to try and cut it, I mean, your potential, I mean, you could get $3,000 out of cut stones out of this. But you also, as we've experienced, could get nothing out of it. So it's just a great specimen. You can see there's just no green to it in normal light. Then you put the UV on it and keep it out of my eyes. And it just fluoresces dramatically. And again, daylight is going to cause it to turn green also. Cool stuff. Unfortunately, this mine that was discovered in 2014 lasted till 2016, and then there was no more material. It was in the top of a hill that it just ran across the hill. As soon as they cut the top of the hill off and got all the material, it's just gone. So this comes from Zacatecas, Mexico. We fortunately got onto it in maybe 2016. Yeah, right at the end, but we met with the miners and we just bought everything we could, and we got quite a few specimens, and I still have probably 10, 12 stones to cut. But they're difficult to deal with, and I've got a few cut stones, so I haven't worked at cutting them, but we'll be getting to those sometime soon, because it is such high value material. But the longer I wait, the longer there's none found anywhere else, it'll just get more and more valuable. And our next stone is another one of our favorites, a Tanzanite. This is really nice trillion. Just really excellent color, just a nice mix of color. The overall quality rating is a high 952. So it's really well cut, clean, and just great color. You're going to find that it's going to go from a nice blue in daylight to this mixed blue-purple. It's a beautiful stone. Weighs 308, 1850 is our regular price online. Appraised price is $33.98, and with Mix 15, you'll get 15% off that. Tanzanite, I think, is a stone that's headed for higher prices. I've probably said that for a while, but there's so much going on over there. If it hadn't been for COVID right now, I think we would have experienced higher prices, just because all that's going on with the government. They're making every attempt to stop the smuggling that's gone on for years. Much of the material has left the country into Kenya and gone on to India, which has cut probably 50% of all the Tanzanite that's ever hit the market. And it's somewhat gone out illegally through Kenya, and now they've stopped all purchasing at the mines. You have to purchase now at the government offices. They have set up buildings in a couple of different places, and all transactions have to go on there, and they've started jailing people for not following the rules. So they're making every attempt to keep the market and the taxes on the material, and just the taxes is going to push the prices up of material. So there's just no way that the price is not going to go up on it. And I said that towards the end of last year, assuming that it was coming anytime. And then COVID hit and nobody traveling, so the prices are still good. And the big thing is the colors that I'm seeing now are the finest that I've ever seen. We've got a stone coming up later in the show that I looked at, I go, how many stones am I going to see like this, with this red flash and just dramatic colors in it, which I've almost never seen in the past. There's just such great colors available now. The quality is better than ever. You know, I worry about the time when I can't get these colors again. And, you know, what am I going to do then? You know, I guess you sell what you get. But right now, it's a special time for Tanzanite. This particular stone, I guess I mentioned it, price. And so 15% off with mix 15.
Question.
Is it a Jeffrey question?
No, no.
Oh, okay.
This is Chris Clemens is on the line.
All right, Chris.
I
He's
would
usually
say,
pretty slow, but he's quick tonight. He had an excuse. I don't remember what it was, but
And EM tried to help as well with some information. But Chris did say photoluminescence is another word for fluorescence. Phosphorescence refers to afterglow following exposure to UV.
okay.
Can you explain that?
So photoluminescence is just the reaction to light. It fluoresces or gives off light reaction to like UV, whereas phosphorescence is a yes. So as Michael said, you know, when you fluoresce something, the electrons jump up higher levels, and they're slow to come back down, which is probably the same as fluorescence, but the electrons drop immediately and give off light. Whereas with phosphorescence, they come off slowly. And some material that Chris has shown us, you know, it can go on for minutes.
It was the trilingua type calcite.
Trilingua calcite.
Is one.
It's just amazing how long the glow can last. So that's the difference between photoluminescence and phosphorescence. And I suppose photoluminescence would still be phosphorescence. It'd still be the same, just a different length of time.
I'm going to ask you again about it. The difference at the end of the show. See if you remember.
It's a
quiz.
test.
Yep.
Okay. So I will learn more about, you know, this identification of diamond, and we're working on it, and that's where this all came from, and ways to ID the synthetic diamonds. Okay, thanks, Chris. Appreciate it. Up next is Congo Tourmaline. You know, Congo's produced these tourmalines for probably the last 5-6 years, and they produce a real broad range of colors, greens and pinks typically, but you know, a broad range of beautiful colors. This is a stone that closed the deal on a purchase of mostly Tanzanite. So the deal was closed with this stone, kind of a gift. Appreciate it, Steve. So this is what I got out of it. Not 100% clean, but keep in mind that what you see in the video is high magnification, not really magnification, but very close and under bright lights. And when you look at the stone on your finger, it'll be very difficult to see what's in the stone, but came out very bright, really a very attractive stone. So this is a Barian style antique cushion. Barian's just a cutting style. Step cut crown. This produces a really nice brilliance. So this stone weighs 5.47 carats. Appraised price of $1,230. Online we're $890. And 15% off for mix 15. And next is another tourmaline that came from Congo. This is a ring that we produced here. This is a Christopher, I believe this is Chris's design. Yeah, I'm sure it is. So the center stone I cut did another Congo Tourmaline, a little deeper in color, accented by a couple of Tanzanite. So the center is a 7 karat 57. The side stones weigh 3.12. Very fine Tanzanites accenting this, so it makes a real unique look, this particular combination. Praise price on this, $7,280. $57.50 is our price online, and again 15% off for mix 15. So that's going to be down somewhere around $5,000, I think. 15, a little less. But really a dramatic piece. And just super quality Tanzanites. Nice heavy setting. This
Like
particular
green and blue,
one,
or-
well, we do Savarite and Tanzanite. Generally, Tanzanite's the center stone, accented by Savarites. So yes, we've done it successfully with that combination. I think we've done. I don't know if we've done Peridot with it or not, but the green and the blue has been real successful for us. So, and this is really just a dramatic ring. It's, where you at, Michael?
Oh,
Wake up.
thinking about trilogy calcite.
I think this is also an 18 karat white.
That says 14.
It's 14, okay. It was the other ring. But another stone from the Democratic Republic of Congo. Without Africa, we'd have so few stones to sell these days. Really a major producer, and I think will continue, and we'll have a lot of new discoveries. There's a belt that runs down through Ethiopia, Kenya, Mozambique, that produces a huge amount of stones. Tanzania, Rwanda. And our next stone is another stone from the same belt. This is another zircon. This comes from Singita in Tanzania. This is from my last trip to Tanzania. This is probably the biggest stone I cut from this source. Just really remarkable brilliance. Again, the zircon, it's what they're known for. And this cut, a nice small table, really helped the brilliance of this stone. Hard to get more life out of a stone. Have to be a diamond to be more brilliant than this. The stone is 8 karat 35.
Oh,
Is that right?
I got the wrong thing on here.
Ah,
Sorry.
wrong information. So, the real information is it's an 8 karat 35. Measures 11.4 millimeters. Stone I cut. And comes from Singita, Tanzania. Okay. So appraised price is $1,890. $990 is our price online. So 15% off with mix 15. So will that all go through correctly? The price is right.
Just
Yeah, it was just the information. That was the stone we sold earlier. So the sale price is correct. So everything else is right. Just you're not going to get a color shift Malaya garnet. You're going to get a Zircon from Singita. But really, really, really a pretty color. You know, this is similar to the Imperial Zircon, just doesn't have that peach color, more yellow-orange. Singita I haven't been to. I'm not sure if I'll go next trip or not. You know, they're much harder to treat, these stones. They come very deep color, and you have to heat them. And my experience with heating has been kind of mixed. They don't always come out beautiful. Most zircons, when you heat them, you actually do it. You can do it on a hot plate and watch it as it changes. And material like from Tanga and other sources that have heated, you watch them and you pull it off when you think it's done, and you get what you saw. You know, the Singita material, you heat it and you get it to the color you think you want it, and then you put it on your desk and it just keeps changing. You know, so you really don't know when to take it off the heat. So it's just been a problem from that standpoint. You know, it's colors that I want, and you know, you initially see it and then it changes to a different color. They're still pretty, but you know, it's just a harder stone to deal with.
If you put that shot on your hand.
It's hard to.
Are these good for daily wear?
Yeah, they're good and hard. You know, the zircons are a harder stone than most. You know, they're not impervious to damage, but you know, they are a good durable stone. Quite hard to find a rock more brilliant than that.
Reiterate that it's not.
It is not the Malaya garnet. The information is incorrect. The price is correct.
That was Michael's fault.
Yeah, Michael, our producer. I don't know. I have to move Jeff over to that position.
I'd gladly trade.
We're not any of us impervious to mistakes. I've made a few. But the next stone was not a mistake. You know, this stone I resisted cutting for a long time because it's a big rock and it's always a challenge to cut them, and, you know, trying to figure out what to get out of a piece of rough, you know, in small stones is not such a challenge because your loss is not so great when you make a mistake. So I tend to hesitate with these big stones and put them off till one day I finally decide it's time. And, you know, it was a good day when I did this because I really did well. This came out 28 carats. When I cut it, you know, initially when I bought it, I'd hoped and dreamed that I'd get a 30 carat. When I started cutting it and kept whittling it away, because it was 19 millimeters wide, and I kept running into problems, and, you know, eventually it went down to 18 and finally finished at just over 17 millimeters. And, you know, when I got it out of the solvent the next day, I'm thinking, God, I hope it's 20 carat. And then it came out 28 carat, so I was pleasantly surprised. So this is natural color. You know, it's a stone that is very attractive as this color. Whether it's attractive enough to sell as a natural in this price range, I'm not sure. You know, naturals sell well for me in the 2, 3, 4 carat size, sometimes 5 or 6 carat. But a 28 carat natural, although I sold a 42 carat once, it is a little more of a challenge to sell. And this stone has such a great color within it. You know, I have no doubt that the color that this is going to heat to will be just fantastic. So, whoop, not much difference. But you can see the blues that are in it. You know, this color is known as diesel, you know, is what the Tanzanians call it. So attractive as it is, but, you know, I think it'll probably end up a heated stone unless somebody wants a natural out there, which there are many. You know, we've sold many, many natural stones. And we always give them a chance to sell as naturals because you can heat them anytime. It's a day from now I can have the stone heated and be a blue stone. But once it's gone, it's gone. So selling a stone as natural is always a pleasurable thing because there are so few sold as naturals. I think it's a market that will grow, and I will continue to cut naturals and offer them as natural and eventually heat them. You know, we have a stone later in the show that was exactly that. The last show, it was natural. It had none of the blue, but it was kind of a really pretty, just reddish brown color. And we showed it in the last show, and tonight we've got it as a heated stone. So that's the benefit of, you know, it's almost like selling two stones. You have two options. So here it is as a natural, a 28.51 carat. And just a very clean stone, and the cut is just, it just came out really nice. Again, cut on the Ultratech V5 behind me. And this stone, I'm not sure if this stone has 145 facets, I think. It's not a full Portuguese crown, but the pavilion is a 3-row pavilion rather than the 5-row in a typical Portuguese. And it was just the depth of the stone was not great enough to do a full Portuguese. But this stone, it has the same effect as what I see when I cut a full Portuguese. Just a really beautiful Tanzanite, and kind of anxious to see it blue, but I guess I have plenty of blue ones and not too many naturals. So I'll wait for a while. So you've got a chance, at least a couple of weeks before I heat this stone. So it's a appraised value of $32,000, almost $800. The price online is $19,200, a bargain. It'll be a beauty. And 15% off with Mix 15. So that comes to about 3,000. Is that about what that is? Something like that. So it'll be down in 16,000 something. So, which puts that at a good per carat price and really will heat to be a fine stone. I'll show you that other stone we heated last week, and you can go back to the other show and compare. And I knew it would heat to be a great stone, and it did. So we'll look at that a little later.
I asked about the 5 caratish stone you talked about a few weeks ago heating. Is that what we're going to talk about later?
No, this is a 572.
Okay, so that's going to come up later.
So it'll be a little later, and you'll get to see what that came out, and it really came out actually better than I expected, because the color that was in that stone I'd really never seen before. It was just a single color. There were no accenting colors to it, but it was kind of a reddish brown, which was unique. And because it was unique, I had thoughts of keeping it like that. It's almost a color on its own, like a fancy color. But glad I heated it, because it really is a special stone. And up next, had a sale.
We did.
Cool.
Nice thing about this one, you know, when we're on the show, we have a lot of other stones on our site, not just the ones we're featuring. So Janet ended up actually purchasing the pink Portuguese Imperial Zircon 8 carat, which I don't believe was on the show.
Oh, no.
No.
It was
it a previous
stone
show?
from Mozambique, maybe.
Could have been.
Could have been.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, it was on a previous show. Maybe.
Well,
Yeah.
thank you, Janet.
Yeah, thanks, Janet. Yeah, it's hard to keep track. We've had so many shows. I don't know what this is, 10 or 11 or 12.
13, 14. Yeah,
13,
I don't know.
I don't know. So
16.
This is our 100th
So we've
show.
shown a couple hundred stones, and it is getting to concern me that, not that I'm going to be out of stones, I'm just going to be out of stones that are exciting enough to excite me to do a show about it. But I still have some rough to cut, and hopefully COVID will be over sometime soon, that we can get back out and do some buying, because nobody's traveling. My friends aren't traveling that I rely somewhat on to get me rough material. And, fortunately I've got some that are overseas that I can still get some material, but nothing like being there and buying it in the presence of the seller. So hopefully we can keep enough material in the shows. We'll probably do more mounted pieces, because we're working on mounted pieces for Christmas now, and we may start working on showing a little more mounted, because there's just a limited amount of stones I've got until I can make some more purchases of rough. So thanks, Janet. Yeah, if I think I know what stone it is. I've got there's 2 Mozambique rounds. I'm not sure if I still have 2. I did have 2 of similar size, and those are really pretty stones. Mozambique produces a little different color, it's a different color, but every bit as exciting as the stuff from Tanga, So thanks, appreciate it. Up next is a tourmaline from Mineral Mike. This is a bicolor. It's a clear to pink. Just a really nice crystal. Thought that was my hand.
There's your hand.
There we go. So you can see the clear zone at the top. This is how the bicolor green pinks look, but, it's hard to, if you cut this stone, you lose the colorless end during cutting. Not that this is clean enough to cut, almost. I mean, you could cut a stone out of this. I think there's some sleepy areas in it, but it still would cut a nice faceted stone. But in the process of cutting the end of it, you probably are going to lose that color, the colorless end, because when you cut it, you put a facet there and it reflects the pink, so the colorless area is probably not going to show up. But as a specimen, it's really a remarkable specimen. And again, as a pendant, you mount this. Guess you're not going to let me show it. So you mount this direction, and you'll get the bicolor effect of this piece. So make a really nice pendant. Again, you just cap it like you see this gooey stuff at the top. You make that a gold cap and hang it from a chain. Good specimen for that, because it's a good termination on the end. All natural. So a pretty piece, $399 and 15% off with Mix 15. So this comes from Stewart Mine in California, which produces some really great pinks. I don't know, was this still operating, the mine? I guess it is. Yeah, I don't know very little production out of there, but I think this was new production.
I'm not too sure.
Not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure. Somebody out there probably knows. Is the Stewart mine still operating? And up next, question? No. Oh, better yet.
a stone that I was honestly thinking about getting it for the wife. And
Sorry, Amy, you're out of luck.
Salvador beat me to it. If it didn't sell, I was probably going to be like, "Hey, Dad, can we get a deal on that?"
All right. Thanks,
but-
Salvador. You saved me some money there. I'd probably have to give my son a deal or something.
You got to. The oldest. Salvador purchased the one that was a mistake by Michael. The
Zircon.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wrong title.
All right. Thanks, Salvador. You're going to find it's just so bright that everybody's going to see it. Yeah. Cool stone. And again, that source, you don't get much bigger material out of there. That is, I believe it's the biggest stone I've cut from Singita. So don't quote me on that. I've been wrong before. All right, next is an opal. This one I faceted. I like faceting opal just because it makes them unique. And as you see in the picture there, those broad red flashes are from the faceting and not from play of color in the opal. So faceting does have an effect that's positive on opal. A lot of people complain, why would you facet it? They're supposed to be cabbed, but whose rules are those? And this material that comes out of Ethiopia, being as transparent as it is, the faceting does have an interesting effect on it. And it makes an opal that has a unique look that you don't get from Australian material. So really dramatic colors. And again, you can catch occasionally the broad red flash that's coming off the facets in the back. Kind of mesmerizing, this opal. Whisper. It's mesmerizing. Go to sleep.
Buy this gem.
Oh, yes.
Buy
yes.
this gem.
Silly me.
Yeah.
Buy this gem. Really pretty stone. It's... Here's the back of it. And what's unique about the Ethiopian opal is many of them, it's hard to decide which is the prettier side of them. A lot of the material that comes from Australia, they have one pretty side and the other side is either potch, meaning colorless opal, or, just isn't very exciting. But stones like this, you could mount them either direction. And we just produced the piece that actually showed both sides. It flipped over, had a diamond bail, and then the whole piece flipped and gave you a whole different look. This one's pretty much homogeneous, just color everywhere. But that piece we did, it was like two different opals, and like you had two different pieces. Not that this one's totally the same, but yeah.
Could this be a ring and a necklace?
Yeah, you could do a ring. We do rings. We like to put them in necklaces because they're not the toughest stone on the planet. But we do many rings. I wore a ring for years, and both of you guys have opal rings. But you a little more risk of damage and risk of getting them in things you don't want to get them in, because these are hydrophane. They will absorb chemicals and and there are things you don't want to get into it. So a pendant definitely is a safer place for them, but we don't hesitate to put them in rings. Really pretty stone. And this is weighs just over 10 carat. 1,090 is the price online. 15% off that today with Mix 10. Mix 15. Not trying to cut your discount. But look at the colors. I mean, they don't get much better than that. You know, it's just a nice size that can be ring or pendant, and I don't know if you can, hard for me to hold it and for you to see the size, but would make a nice size pendant.
Should have put the video of when you're cutting it, how it was totally transparent from the water, except for the square in the middle.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Oh, we should have had that.
Yeah.
Where can we put that they can see it? It was just so cool. When I cut this piece, when they get wet, they get transparent. But this one got transparent, but right in the center was a duplicate of this opal in miniature. It was like framed by clear and had a square opal in the center, just play a color. It was just so cool, you know, but as soon as it started to dry, the whole thing turned white, as they do, and then the color came back. But you know, yeah, Jeff's going to post a link on chat of the picture of this, because it was so cool. I can't believe we forgot to do it, Michael, because it was one of the coolest things I've seen. If I could have kept it like that, we would have kept it like that if there was a way to stop it. I suppose if you just got it wet again, you could see it.
I don't know, but it
Yeah.
was like a square in the middle.
Yeah, it was like this opal shrunk in the middle of a clear. The whole thing was clear, and then the color zone in the center was just a square of color. So hopefully we get that link up there. The link's in chat, so you can see what the picture is. It's just really cool, worth looking at.
It's in the comments below the video.
It's in the comments.
Section in the video. So for the people that
You tell them.
For the people that aren't on the chat, which you should, some good conversation again there. But on the YouTube, in the comments below the video, I posted the link there. It's an Imager link.
Yeah, be sure you take a look at it, because it's amazing. All right, up next is a blue zircon. You know, this is really a beautiful color. I've had them darker, but this is a color that really typically this is as dark as you expect zircon, and just a really beautiful color. And for zircon, just a very reasonably priced stone. You know, I bought this right, and it's out to you right. You know, typically zircon is more in the 150 to 250 carat price range, but this will be under 100 a carat. So a nice big stone, really bright, as zircon always is.
Pavilion is not a mile deep.
Yes, and if you look at both zircons, they're deeper than they are wide, and so this stone is a cut that you can actually set without having to make a custom mounting, which is an important fact. You know, thanks for bringing that up, Michael, because it is this material, because the rough is so deep, they cut them deep. And when you cut them deep, it adds to the color, so there's a benefit there. But when you go to try and set it, it's just a nightmare. You know, it sits up real high, and it is a problem with a lot of zircons. But this one is cut like a stone should be cut, and no extra depth, so it'll be easy to set. You can buy a standard mounting for it, and not require a custom setting to make this fit. Oop. And it's a pretty color. You know, this it's hard to get the green to show up in these, but there's a little tint of green that you're not seeing in this particular video. Blue greens are a problem for cameras, at least for my camera. And it's something I'm going to work on, find a camera that'll represent teal colors particularly. I just can't make, you know, the picture that's in there is more accurate. I think I probably had to Photoshop it to get it, because my camera will not produce that color, but that's the accurate color of the stone. So it's $485 and 15% off with Mix 15. Zircon, definitely one of my favorites, just because of the brilliance and the blue color. You know, it's hard to get blues with that bit of green. You see it in aqua occasionally, but blue zircon, definitely a unique look, and again, the remarkable brilliance they have. Let's talk about my new toy.
New toy.
Thing that's in the way every time I try to look at you.
Now let me move this mic a little bit. So this is my new scope. You know, I've been looking at scopes. I've been using a relatively inexpensive scope that I've been happy with for years from Gemoro. You know, it was like a $300 scope. You know, I'm a little cheap sometimes on equipment. Not always. We have some expensive equipment, but this particular scope I've researched for a little while, and I'm very happy with the purchase. You know, a lot of benefits to it. You know, this is a scope by Amscope. It's the GM 300TZ. It's made for the jewelry industry. It has magnification from 3.5 to 90 power. Good clear optics. Has bright field and dark field illumination, which is important for viewing gems. It's interesting because this is a scope I could take on a trip. I don't know I ever will, because you know, it works from anything from 90 volts to 240 volts, so usable overseas. It has an attached, it's a trinocular, so you can attach a scope or a camera to it and do videos or pictures, which I'm trying to do research on cameras and find out just what the best cameras for taking videos and pictures of inclusions in stones, which I've always wanted to do, and I think this is the quality piece of equipment I can do it with. So this particular scope was 1,046, which for microscopes is very inexpensive. It does a lot of things. I don't know how to use it yet. I mean, you can judge angles in stones, and you know, it has a rotatable.
Can you hold it up?
Yeah.
It's pretty heavy.
Yeah, it's not too bad. I mean, it's all LED, so it doesn't heat up. You know, my other scopes had, yeah, what's the bulb?
LCD?
No. Got into LEDs so much. The previous bulbs,
Incandescent? Fluorescent?
well, they're incandescent, but I just can't come up with a name. But very hot, you know, and just too hot, particularly when you're working with gems. So the LED is very cool light to use. So, and this has both a little swing LED for looking at with light from above, and then a dark field below that's an LED. You know, I guess my only drawback I see with this is I wish they had a dimmer on it and a little bit brighter. I mean, I'm very happy with the lights that are on it, but a dimmer with a brighter light would be the only thing that I would like to have seen in this particular scope. So that's my new toy, and it's helped me a lot in getting back to grading the internal clarity of some of these dark stones, which is very difficult to light up the interior, that you can actually see everything that's inside. So it's the Amscope, and it's GM 300TZ, you know, and I think they actually have 15% off right now that I didn't get. So you even get it for less than that. I don't think you use the coupon code MIX15, but they do have a coupon code. So So it's something I can move around the shop and don't have to have it plugged in, and the battery seems to last a really long time. So it'd be good for travel if I decide to take it with me somewhere. So that's my new toy. Huh? Halogen, yes.
Thank you, Jim.
Sorry, halogen. I mean, I've used 1,000 halogen bulbs in this store, and just they're out of style and out of my mind. Okay, up next is a Peridot, kind of a unique cut. Personally, if you've watched the shows, I do love Peridot. It's unfortunate that the availability of Peridot is much less these days than it was 10 years ago. This material coming from Pakistan just had a unique color, and this is one of the unique colors in that it's much a lighter bluish green color that you don't really see from other sources. Whoop. But this is an all step cut stone, step cut pavilion, step cut crown, kind of a unique shape. Could be a sail, Jeff. If I can get it the right direction. Definitely could be a sailboat.
In the wind. Sailboat.
Can I have the screen back? Whoop.
Can you find
Can
it?
you? There you go. It is a sail. So pretty Peridot, a nice size stone. Getting stones over 5 carat is difficult these days. Michael just got some really nice crystals that he has on mineralmike.com. It's a nice Peridot crystals, which you don't see really good Peridot natural crystals very often. So this is a stone that's appraised value of $2,610. Online we're $950 and 10% off with mix 15. Peridot from Pakistan. They're mined in the Himalayas, and we saw a video recently of them going in the mines and going through, 200 foot of snow before they even got to the mine opening. I mean, just like a cave of snow. It looks scary to me, and mines don't scare me, but that one kind of looked like something I'd have a little hesitancy going into because they really had to go through a lot of snow to get to the opening of the mine. Because it's up 11,000 feet in the Himalayas. They said it was a month a year mining, but I don't know if they mine more than that. But with all that snow, it's a difficult feat, and just getting up there. I don't know how they do it. I've climbed up to a mine 3,300 feet, and that was more than I want to do again. So 11,000 feet. I want a helicopter. And up next is another crystal from Mineral Mike. This is an aquamarine that comes from Brazil, Mimosa do Sol mine in Brazil. Again, a mine I never went to, but been to Brazil and really loved it in Brazil.
It's the same mine that produced those weird tapered aquas.
Like the one
I have in
the one crystal that's double-sided.
Yep, same
Yeah.
mine,
Oh, okay.
same mine owner.
Yeah. Just really nice color.
Got a white back.
Nice hexagonal. Nice termination. Again, a piece that make a great pendant. Doesn't show up on my blue shirt there, but my pink neck. So again, over an inch long. About an inch and a quarter inch and a quarter, so 31 millimeters, that's hard. Weighs 20 carat, $269 and 15% off for mix 15. put a cap on that. Wear it with pride. All right, that comes to you from Mineral Mike, but it's available here during this sale for 15% off with Mix 15. And now this is the stone that was on last week's show. This one just heated yesterday. Got it out of the oven this morning and was very excited to see it. Just really a beautiful color, and if you could see it in the light here, not with the camera, you would see dramatic red flash out of it. I mean, just red flashes everywhere, which is so difficult to find. You know, we had the one big stone last week, the 53 carat Tanzanite, that again had dramatic red flash. Couldn't show it with the camera, but both the stones, this one included, it really has a significant flashes of red, and they are red flashes, not pink or purple as you would see typically in Tanzanite. So this stone changes significantly, very blue in daylight, and a lot of violet into it with incandescent light. This is pretty much showing more to the daylight color, but kind of a mix of the colors. It will go blue. It's a Portuguese round. A little bit of stuff on the surface was not, that is just something that didn't wipe off it. The stone is clean. Weighs 5.72 carats, 38.80 is our price on the site, 57.40 appraised price, 15% off that. Has a really high rating of 977. So the cut's right, the clarity's right, and the color's right. It's almost perfect. You know, I think didn't quite rate the color perfect. If it was a shade darker, it'd have been one of those rare stones that got close to 1,000 rating. But I think color-wise, I give it a 975 in daylight and a 950 in incandescent. Yeah. But remarkable rating, remarkable stone. This is the one that last week was the reddish. I guess it was reddish brown, kind of a unique color. So. And up next is a Rwanda amethyst. This one I finished today. I wanted to get a Rwanda in because they seem to sell quickly. Again, this is part of what was on, you know, what this was all our stones. It's on the Journal of Gemology. And this was the piece of rough that this came from. You know, I cut this in half a little more than 2 weeks ago, and to cut smaller stones, so I didn't have to heat them to lighten them up. And this one came out beautiful without having to be heated. You know, the color is dramatic in this Rwanda amethyst. The Rwanda came out in 2015, and within 6 months, all the material was gone from this particular source. There's a couple of mines in Rwanda that produce material, but this was the best of the material, and really some of the highest quality amethyst that ever came out of the ground. I don't think there's a better source. We do get beautiful stones from Uruguay, and I've cut many from Uruguay. But few rival this material. I mean, you get such good blues out of it, and kind of reddish violet in different lights.
This piece is from the original find?
This is from the original. So I've probably got another 5 or 6 stones that got from this original material. I have material from both, and the other source was very nice too, but just didn't quite have the depth of color, the amount of shades of blue that you get out of the material. So this stuff was really, again, some of the best that ever came out of the ground. Yeah. So this one weighs 22.77 carats. 15.20 is our price online, and another 15% off that with mix 15. You know, again, another cut that a unique cut. This is cut similar to what the Morganite, the bigger Morganite we saw tonight. I did a similar style on the crown of this, and produces a little more brilliance than just the standard emerald cut. Debated which way to go with it and chose to do this style, and happy I did. So.
Is that it?
Any questions?
You got some questions?
Okay. I'll be glad.
Yeah. Let's get back there a little bit. All right.
All right.
So everybody out there, if you do have questions, now is the time to post. I've recorded some of the questions you guys asked earlier, so we're going to talk about those now. But if you do have any questions for Steve, just post them in the chat on the YouTube channel, and I'll add those to the list. So, kind of a loaded question here, and be careful how you answer.
Okay.
Question for Steve. What gemstones does he think are the most overrated?
Wow. The most overrated.
You've done your underrated.
Underrated, overrated. Wow. That's a tough question because I like so many of them. Yeah, again, we go back to darker stones. You know, I don't know that they're overrated, but the stones that I see as problems are stones that are just a little over dark and just don't have any brilliance to them. You know, it can be a type of stone that are rated highly, but, you know, if they're over dark, just like an over dark sapphire, you know, people, which that would be one of them for sure, because so many people in the past used to say, oh, I want that dark sapphire. You know, those are the best, the dark ones. But to me, those are the worst. You know, you just don't get any brilliance out of them. Dark color is nice to a point, but once they're so dark that the faceting doesn't show up, I see no value in those. Being a cutter, I'm after brilliance, and you can only have so much depth of color before you kill the brilliance of a stone. And so that's the thing that one stone I'd find overrated. There's not too many stones I find overrated. You know, I'm not particularly fond of irradiated stones. Partly, I don't know why, but, you know, blue topaz, even though I've cut some great blue topaz, and I've probably learning to like topaz more because it just cuts such a remarkable stone. But being irradiated, the color didn't start out that way, started out colorless, and the irradiation turned it blue. I used to have a very much of a dislike for irradiated stones, but that's going away somewhat. You know, I have more acceptance of, you know, I accept a lot of treatments, and I now accept a little more the irradiation. Although you have to be careful with the radiation because a lot of irradiated stones will fade in daylight. So you do have to be aware of that. But other than that, not too many stones I feel are overrated. I like most all of them. You know, there's not too many gems I don't like. So it's a tough question for me. But the dark blue sapphires, because in the past those were considered to be the best. I never understood that. Just in a lot of people's minds, I think that they were sold that idea and they believed it. But brilliance is king in my mind.
Okay. Out of the stones that you cut recently that have been on the show tonight, what was the hardest and what was your favorite to cut?
Hardest to cut. Well, the hardest to cut was the one I broke. Or the big Tanzanite. That was the most challenging because, man, when you're cutting away a stone that's worth $700 a carat and you're cutting it started as 60 carat. I got remarkable yield out of it. Getting something close to 50% is almost not possible, but it happens occasionally. But you're looking at the stone getting smaller and smaller and smaller, and that's what creates anxiety, and just seeing the money go, and you're always thinking that it's worse than it is. Sometimes it is worse, but in this case it was better than expected and worked out okay. But it's difficult when you're sitting down cutting it, and you've got a stone that ultimately end up worth 20 grand, and you see the material going down the drain basically. So that makes it difficult.
All right. You talked about that. Someone heard that Tanzanite needs to be cut in only Tanzania there now, and rough can't be sent out of the country.
Well, that's been rules for so many years, and it always gets out. It's the situation with the government has always been, I don't want to get too much into the way it is, but it's gotten out because most of it's cut in India. Nobody's surprised that India cuts no less than 50% of all the Tanzanite, maybe even more than that. The problem has been Tanzania has no ability to cut the amount of material that they have. They don't have enough cutters. So it's mostly cut in India, always has been. It's always got out of the country, even though they say that, material over used to be a gram cannot be exported. Then it was 2 grams, and, it changes constantly. And they're trying to get a handle on it. Material still does exit the country. It's hard to say just what the rules are, and what, as things are in many countries, money talks and stones walk. I don't know. It's the way it's been. I'm all for it all being legal and exporting legally. I've gotten a lot of stones recently that have come out of estates, because a lot of people that were investing back in the 70s and 80s into gems, they're older than me, and many are passing away. So we are seeing more and more stones being offered up from people that have bought previously, and what the laws were back then, it wasn't the same. But hopefully, our next trip to Tanzania, which I think both my sons are probably going to go. It'll be a easy thing to go and buy, and everything being legal with the government. And I'm glad to see that. I hope they'll export rough. I'd love to see more of it cut here, because I think we're still superior cutters to what they have in Tanzania, although I'm seeing better cutting from many sources. There are cutters that are developing, that are using better quality of equipment overseas, and hopefully that we'll see some cutting like we're doing. But I just don't see it now. I mean, you get all the basic cuts coming out of Tanzania. You don't get any of the unusual cuts that we do here, and hopefully that'll change, and hopefully I can be involved in getting some cutting going over there.
Okay.
Was that the question?
I think so.
Yeah. Ramble on long enough. I forget where the question was. But
You answered it.
okay.
Have you ever cut Epidote? Epidote.
Sure. I'm not sure which ones are Epidote, but it's all related to. Epidote is a odd group of stones that involve a lot of stones, including tourmaline. I'm not real familiar with which stones are in the Epidote group, but some of the stones I cut are.
Okay.
Epidote has confused me, and I've not researched it enough to know which stones are actually in the Epidote group. It just keeps coming up in trade journals, and well, that's an Epidote too, huh? But I'm not totally familiar with all the stones that are in the Epidote group.
Do garnets exist in blue other than color changing?
There have been some found in the last couple years that were just blue and weren't color changing. Yeah. Yeah, small and, nothing. I don't know. I've seen really beautiful ones, but they're definitely blue.
Okay. This gentleman wants to know if he wants to find appraised values per carat of gemstones, I guess in general. Is there a place to find that, or what's the best place to price those out?
Well, going online and seeing what things are actually valued at is an accurate place. The Gem Guide is a great journal, but it's only available to people in the trade. So other than that, there are some sites that you pay for. I don't know exactly what the name of it is, but I've seen a few that you pay and you can get their pricing. Don't know how accurate they are, and but I know there's one in particular I've looked at that seemed accurate, but there is a monthly fee to see those prices. But if you're in the trade, Gem Guide is the right book to get, because they go to the shows and they price actual stones.
Okay. Have we ever been to Montana, and do we have any Montana sapphires?
I think I have one Montana sapphire currently. I've bought several recently. We talked about going our next vacation, which is coming up next week, but with COVID, we decided not to make the effort. But would like to go, but haven't been. There's a couple places I'd like to go. Rock Creek and the El Dorado Bar has on the Missouri River would be the places. Gem Mountain, I think people go to for fee. You pay a fee to dig.
Okay.
So haven't been, but would like to go. If it just wasn't so far to drive. Yeah.
24 hours.
Yeah, 24 hours for us, I think. Longer than I want to drive anymore, but
Steve.
yeah. When we can get back to flying, we'll go to Montana. Because Montana sapphire has become much more important. People were not excited about the colors 10 years ago, but now the whole market has opened up to colors that we didn't think were as saleable as they are. So people's view of different colors is changed, and we can see that with the gray spinels that became so popular. I mean, really dramatic popularity of a stone that 20 years ago, it was just trash. But now people look at things differently, and being an old guy in the business, it's sometimes difficult for me to change my view, but I'm attempting to, so I look at different colors, just like the natural Tanzanites, that in the past were considered not saleable. Nobody tried to sell them, but now we're looking at that and going, it is interesting and it is worth marketing. So things change.
Okay. This person wants to know, what's the largest Alexandrite you've ever seen?
I think 10 carat. I know there's been bigger, but at some of the trade shows you see some big ones. You know, but they're just right now crazy money. Well, it's not crazy money because they are exceedingly rare, and you get a fine Alexandrite that's of size. You know, you're looking at even a 1 carat stone is greater than 10,000 a carat. You know, for a really top 1 carat, you could probably have to pay 15 grand for an Alexandrite. A 10 carat, I don't know, $500,000. Some huge price. Yeah, and worth every bit, because find another one. You know, it's one of the rarest things on the planet. Color change garnets, a little rarer, but you know, big Alexandrite, you know, is a rare stone and a worthy investment. I wish I'd bought more. You know, 7-8 years ago, they were half the price of what they are now. You know, that's true of so many stones. They change quickly with availability.
And you were just talking about those color change garnets. Just sold to Chantel Howard.
The color change?
Yeah.
garnets? Oh, cool. Oh, fantastic. Well,
Those are cool.
yeah. They're, you know, it's, yeah, we love them here in the store because everybody just go, oh, that's amazing, you know. And, you know, it's unfortunate that the supply is maybe run out completely out of Madagascar. I hope it's not true. Hopefully they dig deeper and find more, but everybody I've talked to, it just nothing available. You know, I won't say nothing. They've all got 1 or 2 stones, but nothing exciting, and, you know, just getting the colors I used to get and the quality that's been available up to just this last year is, you know, it's a little disheartening because it's a stone I won't be able to sell. You know, you get used to having the fine colors that you get from Madagascar, and, you know, you try and step down to a lower quality. It's just tough for me to get excited about it. So excited that the trio of those Alexandrite-like garnets sold, and I'm sure you'll enjoy them because everybody I've sold them to, they just love the stones. And the good thing about those, most of them are a little over dark. I talked about over dark stones, but, you know, a lot of the Alexandrite-like garnets are on the dark side, but these are not. They just really open color, and, you know, just a beautiful trio of stones. You know, it's I said, I've never had a trio of matched color change garnets, you know. So I, again, don't have any. And thank you. Yes. Yeah, that's cool.
This is more of a statement. Just a name. Moved from the Bozeman just before I started watching your videos, and they're currently cutting on a modified V2.
A modified V2, which is an older Ultratech machine.
Okay.
You know, but you can still get parts. I don't care how old it is, you can still get parts. I believe that's true. And, you know, so it's the right machine to own. So Bozeman, I don't know what, I know there's a lot of gems in that area. Say you just moved from there? Or?
No, it sounded like you used to cut on or you just moved from Bozeman just before I started watching you. You're currently cutting. I don't know, could be. I was thinking Bozeman was maybe moved from like a Bozeman cutting machine to a V2.
Oh, no.
But it's probably a town someplace.
It's Arizona, right?
I don't know.
Bozeman, Arizona.
I'm sure he'll.
It's either that or New Mexico.
Okay.
Bozeman, Arizona. I'm sure it's Arizona. You know, a lot of gems in Arizona, and we love getting out there at least once a year to go to the Tucson show. I wish I had more time to go mining out there. We've done a very little bit of mining out there, but
Montana.
Montana.
We were
We'll
way
go
off.
to huh? Oh, Bozeman, Montana. Yeah, that's right.
You were sure it was Arizona.
It sounded good. I knew there was some gems up there. Oh, well.
Haven't been there.
You know. Where's Waldo? I'm pretty good at geography, but not perfect, obviously.
There's a lot of same name towns, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a Bozeman, Arizona somewhere. Okay.
All right, moving on. Okay. So I guess this is me thinking. With the stones that we have left, there's like one or two that you're like, oh, somebody should pick these up because they're pretty amazing. What would you say they were?
Of the show tonight?
Yeah, for the stones that we have left here. If someone's thinking about something, you know, like these are one or
God.
two. I think tourmaline crystals, the mineral mic ones. All right.
Okay. Yeah. Well, the 29 karat Tanzanite would be my favorite thing to sell tonight, but you know, it's a tough choice because, you know, I love them all, and many of them I cut in the last 2 weeks, and so I'm fond of many of them. Yeah, it'd be a tough pick. You know, I really like the cut on the bigger Morganite.
I personally
No,
love that one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just
As soon as you showed me it when you were
Yeah.
done cutting it, it's just an amazing stone.
Just a cool piece. Yeah. That one I do think is a special stone. You know, and these stones from Ethiopia, you know, it was a one-time shot. You know, that material was available, and I have not seen it since, and it's been almost 2 years now.
And we weren't even supposed to be picking through that lot, I feel like.
Yes, yeah. This was a lot that they had for somebody else, and he allowed me to pick through it. That was his story anyway, you know. So it wasn't something I expected because I had no idea that material was even coming out of Ethiopia. Never heard of it at that time, and it was just brand new, you know, because they mine emerald in the south of Ethiopia, and that's where these Morganites came from. And saw them once, haven't seen them since. But there is trouble down there with the tribes fighting or something in the area is what I've heard. So whether there's more material, we'll see in the future. But from what I've seen, we got lucky and bought this material. And I've cut several. You know, you'll see several on our website. And, you know, the more I look at them, the more I'm thrilled about them and just really happy I have them. Yeah. So that would probably be my first choice. But so many stones in here are just really, really exciting stones. And
Okay. And they remain on sale for, what is it, a week, I think?
well, it'll probably be a while now because we're going on vacation, so we'll not have another show for at least 3 weeks.
3 weeks. Okay.
Yeah, could be 4 weeks because we're off for 10 days. Finally.
We're not doing the show on the vacation?
We're not doing a show on vacation. Sorry.
All right.
Yeah, these shows are a bit difficult for me anyway, trying to cut stones and get everything ready. And so I'm going to take a vacation. We know what that means. No cutting. Yeah, maybe. You know, usually I cut something, but yeah.
Gotta get that cut video going.
Yeah, we do have to get a cutting video going. We've got a big blue topaz that I've showed you if you've watched the shows in the past, 1,000 karat topaz that I'd like to cut. And it's natural color, no irradiation involved in it. It came out of Brazil a few years back, and nice lighter blue color and should cut a really, really cool stone. So we're going to do a cutting video on that. And then I've got the big quartz I showed you last week that maybe I'll get around to. That'll cut 1,000 or 1,500 karat colorless quartz, which will be unique. So
Max wanted to know how much purple is in that 5.72 karat Portuguese Tanzanite.
quite a bit. You know, when you look at it in an incandescent light, there's a significant amount of purple. You know, and the nice thing about it, sometimes the red flash only shows in one light and doesn't always show in both. But that one, both the blue coloration has red flash and the purple. You know, it's just my lights are not set up to show the purple. If I set up two sets of lights and increase my difficulty of photography significantly. I could show both colors, but it is a significant color change. They probably, it's probably 50-50 blue-purple. If anything, there's a little more blue in it than purple, but it is significant. And in the purple light, the red flash is just everywhere. I mean, it's just like a glitter ball of red flash. So it is a dramatic stone, and it's a piece like I don't normally see. I say the 53 carat I showed last week, which is a remarkable stone, is like the big brother of this stone. It has a little deeper color maybe than the 5 carat, which it should because of its size. But they're like twins, showing so much red flash. It's just something you don't often see in Tanzanite. You're lucky to see 2 or 3 red flashes at one time in a Tanzanite with red flash. But this has 30, 40 flashes of red at one time. So really a dramatic stone.
All right. So there was a kind of ongoing discussion in the chat about this, and they just wanted your thoughts on it. How to tell if it's fake, how to tell if it's real, where it comes from, but Sultanite.
Well, refractive index is the easiest way to tell by far, and you can buy a refractometer, as I've told you before on here, for $70 on Amazon, and if you're going to be in gems, you should own one. I mean, no question about it. Refractometer is the one piece of equipment you should own. Microscope is the other. That's a cheap piece of equipment, and with those tools, you can identify Sultanite. Not exactly recall what the refractive index of Sultanite is. I think it's somewhere around where Tanzanite is, but that is one tool that should identify Sultanite without a problem.
What would you be, I guess, would there be a synthetic or a imitation? What would the imitation be?
I don't know what would look like it if it has any color change. The problem with Sultanite that I find that I've never been too excited about Sultanite, except in big stones, is the color change is so limited. And to me, overrated stones. In general, Sultanite would be maybe my number one pick of overrated stones, because unless you're buying a bigger stone, I say that, and things have changed, again, it's what people like is colors, the whole world has changed, and to me, the color change is not dramatic enough, not like the color change garnets, or, it's just a subtle change from kind of pinkish brown to light khaki green or something is the color change. And until you get into 5 carat and larger stones, the color change is not significant, and I don't see the value in that gem. But the finest examples of it are an interesting and unique stone. But in the average 2 carat stone, I wouldn't give you any money for, is how I look at Sultanite. And I had links to Sultanite that my best friend, who's passed on now, was the global sales manager for Sultanite. So we had some interesting discussions about Sultanite, our different opinions. But again, the finest examples are something to truly appreciate. But it takes a big stone, generally over 10 carat to really be something that the color change is dramatic, and the colors are something that you look at and go, oh, that's pretty, But that's my opinion of Sultanite. That's why there's none on our site, even though it's one of the number one searched items on our site, which is
Crazy.
Crazy.
But we rank.
But the whole market for Sultanite is changed, because it was just Sultanite. so you know where the stones have come from, what the price is. Now it's Sultanite, Zarite. There are people coming up with material from who knows where. So the marketing has changed. I don't understand the pricing, don't know where the pricing is, and so Sultanite's become more difficult than when I knew that it was one source, and that was Sultanite, But there was a split up of the people financing and promoting Sultanite, and the miner had a split, so therefore came up Zarite and Sultanite, and so I just quit following the market. So,
All right, that was a good answer.
thank you, Jeff.
I think that's all the questions.
Okay.
But before we go, I just want to let everybody that's watching, if you want to be notified when we do these or when Steve puts out new videos, make sure if you just look right below the video, there's a little subscribe button. Subscribing is not going to notify you. So subscribing, makes you part of the channel and everything. But as soon as you hit subscribe, there's going to be a little bell next to it. And click that bell. Then you'll get an email when we post a new video, or I believe when we go live as well. So that'll keep you updated on everything Steve's cutting and the videos he's doing. So just
Cool.
let everybody know.
All right, thanks. All right, folks, remember, shop us online at moregems.com, as well as subscribe to us on YouTube at More Gems. That's going to do it for us today, and I want to thank you all for watching. Sign up for alerts when we go live. Also, check out all the video links and info at the bottom of the stream. Until next time, I'm Steve Moriarty. Keep on gemming.